Welcome back to the Mason clan. On this episode we're driving the circular route of the Ring of Kerry, which is described as one of the most scenic drives in Europe. Again, we had nothing booked, so a quick look on Parks for Nights, and we found a windmill we quite like the idea of stopping at. But thinking on, we thought it better to travel a little further and get ahead of the coach trips that would be setting off for the Ring of Kerry. The far side of Glen Bay, you take the road heading for the sandy beaches of Ross Bay. Further on up the hill brings you to a relatively new motorhome area. There's a sign on the gate once you arrive that gives you a phone number for you to ring to say that you're there, and there's a letterbox for you to put your donation in. There's no services, but there are great views across the bay to the Dingle Peninsula. I have to say, this was one of our favourite stops while we were touring Ireland. Overnight there was just one other van and they took the walk down into Glen Bay for food in the evening. Now there's no lights, so you definitely need a torch of some description to get back. For us, we just stayed up there. It was a great spot with just dog walkers coming and going, and all the locals were saying, you must visit the west of Cork, you must visit the west of Cork, which was on our list. Our dogs loved it here as well. They could go off the lead and have a run around. What I had learnt on this trip was you could only buy alcohol after certain times in supermarkets, 10:30 or 12 o'clock on a Sunday. So I was ready for my sunset and my glass of Prosecco was chilling. We thought Dingle Bay could be the place for us to spot some whales or dolphins, but sadly not. Stephen had a good look though. All he saw was some birds enjoying the sunshine. During the evening, people had come and gone from the air, coming up to take photos of the sunset or the view across to Dingle. It was a peaceful night. We enjoyed a good breakfast before we set off onto the Ring of Kerry. First stop was the beach at Ross Bay, so we could grab a photo of the Wild Atlantic Way place marker. There was a couple there who'd seen us coming down and were asking where the heck we'd come from. The weather was looking perfect for our drive around the Ring of Kerry, and my guidebook tells me this is an 87-mile drive. Up until now we'd found the roads to be really good in Ireland, but the Ring of Kerry was potholey. It definitely needed some work. We travelled the ring in an anti-clockwise direction, and we'd read in our guidebook that most of the tours left Killarney between 9 and 10 AM, so we're hoping we'd got ahead of some of those. Now, we've enjoyed some really good drives while we've been in Europe, particularly in the Dolomites, so we were a bit sceptical about how good this drive would be, but it didn't disappoint. The views were spectacular. As you can see, any place where you could park up, there was always a tour bus or 3 or 4. As we got higher, the clouds came in and we lost our views, but this was only for a short while. Now, excuse my pronunciation, but at Caerhysivin there's an amazing Gothic church. You can't miss it, it's on the main road. If you're lucky, you'll find somewhere where you can pull in to stop and admire the view, as long as there's not a tour bus in it already, and there's plenty to be had. The stop at Waterville was really busy with quite a lot of tour buses here. It's famous for a golf course, and there's also a Charlie Chaplin statue. Now, quite a few of the Germans were doing the Morecambe and Wise dance move, so I'm not sure who they thought it was. But anyway, Charlie Chaplin used to holiday here, and that's why there's a statue. There's a few campsites on the Ring of Kerry, and we could have done with using services, but none of them were letting us on. One of them saying they weren't insured to let us use the services. Our next stop was at the brightly coloured Sneem. We were able to park on the second green in the village. There was plenty of tour buses, so it was obviously busy, and there was loads of tourist shops, but there's also a little supermarket on the green as well. We completed our drive of the Ring of Kerry by continuing on the N70 to Kenmare. To one side we had the coast, and to the other side we could see the McGillicuddy Greeks, the hills that you can see on the left. So don't forget, if you like what you see, please press that subscribe button.